If you get something from this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And make sure to throw a comment down below. Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Baudouin. Today is Tuesday, August 19th, and I just wanted to do a video talking about this horrible situation that happened with these two teens that died due to getting into the lake, Michigan, in the past couple of weeks. So what I did was I went down to the lakefront with my friend, and over where the one girl died, there's kind of a beach strip area. There are no signs. There's no warning not to go into the lake. So first thing is first, just ask yourself, when you are driving your car or when you are walking past a sign, do you really pay attention to it, especially if the print is about this big? No. So to me, the idea would be put signs where there are no lifeguards on duty and have not just the verbiage, but have a pictogram of someone swimming in a big red octagon with an X. No swimming, swimming's prohibited, that type of thing. And then there were other ideas I came up with. So what I've done in the past few days is I've kind of put them in paper form. And I reached out to Racine Unified School District and also to the Racine Parks and Recreation Department. I haven't heard anything from the Racine Unified yet, but I did get back some response from the director of the Racine Parks and Rec, Tom Molbeck. And what he relayed to me is that they are going to be having some meetings, all the department heads and whatnot, and they're going to talk about, first of all, the resources that they have so far and how it's protected people, and then also to more things that they can do. So that's where I concentrated my little list here. And I think one of the best ideas I've ever come up with anything was take and get videos on the Park and Rec's website, and then the Unified School Districts would create a homework assignment basically, and then they would send this homework assignment home with the kids, and they would have to watch these videos. It would be part of their homework. And it would be Q&A after they watch the videos, or even have some paper documentation about definitions and whatnot of water safety. And then they would sign it, the parents would sign it and send it back to the school. And I think this should be done every single year with every single school-age child. So having the videos, I have watched their video and it's not a bad video. And I think what they could do is they could do something like what I'm going to talk about here, where they could have key points about water safety, because I think that's most important. But also too, I am a child abuse survivor and an advocate coach. I have a YouTube channel called Lisa's Chatroom, and no, I'm not trying to get you to watch anything, but on two of the playlists, The Dynamics of Abuse, Part 2, and Therapies for a Better Me, Part 102, I talk about the CAPTA law we have, the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act. The Child Abuse Prevention Treatment Act is what the federal government uses. It's a guideline what not to do to your child. And I talk about where that description of child abuse came from. And a lot of people might be against it, but I can tell you, being a child abuse survivor and suffering from multiple mental conditions and struggling all my life, I can tell you that definition is pretty good. And it's based upon people like me through the ACE studies and whatnot. So what not to do to your child, that's a common sense thing, and everybody should understand that and be on the same page. Now, I'm not talking about child abuse here. What I'm trying to get at is eventually through those videos, at the end, I suggest parents to get their own parenting playbook, to make it themselves using a 3-ring binder and create a playbook. And in Therapies for a Better Me 102, I literally give dozens of different types of suggestions and topics, because this is about taking water safety and putting it into that parenting playbook so you have that information yourself as a parent. A parenting playbook, all you do is take a binder, make some tabs, make one of those tabs, water safety, and put this information that I'm telling you in there. Make notes, share it with your kids, share it with your family. And there's some key things that I wrote down that you could put in there that I'm going to share with you. So I'm hoping that you take this information. But first, I wanted to talk about some of the ideas on the Parks and Rec website. It would be nice if they had a map and then all the water areas in Racine to swim at, and even the pools. Again, I don't know if they have some of this stuff, but I'm just saying it out there. So it would be nice to have that, and where they can swim for lifeguards. Where are lifeguards available? At Parks and Rec, you could make it interactive so that when they toggle it on, it can say if there's a lifeguard on duty, if the water's safe, and any place that they're not to swim would have a big circle, octagon with an X. No, you don't swim there. So that was one of the ideas. There are lots of links on the Park and Rec website including National Weather Service, Water Safety Consortium, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And so that is really a nice thing for parents to be able to go look at. And what I did here myself as a medical assistant, I understand the levels of injury. So a minor injury is something that you will recover from. Critical injury is something that you might not recover from. And then a fatal injury is injury that you won't recover from. And so when you are in the water, you can get all of these. So what you have to do is prepare your kids and yourself to understand that this can happen. And so according to the CDC, it says that drowning is the leading cause of death for children 1 to 4 years old. It can happen in seconds and it is often silent. Drowning can happen to anyone, anytime there is access to water. So I will make sure to put the links of this information in the description below here. So anyway, and I was told by a friend that all public pools have a rule that any kid under 11 must be accompanied by adults. So I think that should be a really good rule for when you go to the lakefront. Make sure that you do not let your kids go alone. And the reason is because my son told me a story about how he almost drowned in the lake. And he didn't drown because there were 3 kids. One went to save him and he fell in, and one finally took the fishing rod pole or some kind of pole and held it out for them. And I believe it's the North Pier by the North Beach. This is years ago. I didn't know about it until maybe about 6, 7, 8 years ago. So my point is always have somebody there that's kind of watching over you. Make sure that you're aware of all the water safety rules. Make sure you understand what riptides look like, what undertow looks like. Also, too, you get swimmer's fatigue. And swimmer's fatigue is when you just get so tired you can't swim. Those are the safety considerations to take before you go swimming. So anyway, the other things was basically I would believe that they have life jackets over at the North Beach, and maybe color code them so that you know the ages. And this comes from my friend who works at the pool. I thought that would be a great idea to have life jackets that are like a color coding life jacket. And I truly believe everybody that goes in that lake should have a life jacket on. And actually, the reading I did, a riptide can actually pull you in if you're knee high. So it's something to consider. And make sure that your kids are understanding where you're at when they're in the water, and you should be close to them. You should be monitoring them. I think you should talk to your kids every single year. If the Racine Unified doesn't do it or the parks don't do it, then you do it as parent. Make sure you pull out that parenting playbook and just go through this stuff and have them do a little test. And that's the whole point of what I'm getting at here. Make sure that also, too, when you go fishing on the docks, make sure you wear your life jackets. I mean, my ex dropped the kids off, and they didn't have a life jacket on. And they were like 12, 13, 14 years old. So they could have died. Very easily they could have died. So they should have had life jackets on and safety gear and even a donut with a real long rope. I do know there are some there available, but sometimes in a matter of moments, you need to have it right there. So there's that. And then always make sure you look for the lifeguard to see where they are and they have a line of sight to where you are swimming. Even ask the lifeguard where is the safest place to swim. Recognize what's the difference between a riptide and undertow. So that's what I'm going to get into. An undertow is a current of water that moves below the surface and opposite directions of the waves. And a riptide it's called a rip current, and they're narrow channel of water moving away from the shore. So they're different things. So you got to prepare for those, and also to swimmer's fatigue, because that can happen very easily. And then in here, I've just bullet pointed some things about hypothermia, beach advisories, water debris, and what else? That's what I say. I'm like, this is my little list that I'm going to keep for my grandkids, my family, and know what to do when I'm around water. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And then I've got some ideas for the parks. Most of it I told you about. The most important one, I think, is the videos. They can make a menu strip so it's easier to get to the subjects that they need to get to, like the videos that I'm making. So I can share that with them and show that to them too. So, but otherwise, they do have a video out there, but it's basically about the North Beach, but it does talk about all the precautions.
That's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and please like, subscribe, and share, and post a comment below. And as always, please stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you again next time here in Lisa's chat room.